Hey everyone! Today I've got another video for you on a DeFi platform on Binance Smart Chain. I'll take a deep dive on the Alpaca platform. As with most DeFi opportunities, there's some risk involved, and with Alpaca the risk is something to seriously consider. Alpaca enables its users with yield farming, but with a twist. You can actually use leverage on your liquidity pool farms. This can be both extremely profitable, but it can also wipe you out. So again, although I use Alpaca myself, if you're kinda new to DeFi, trading and especially leverage, be sure to take it slow, don't put in too much funds, and be careful with the leverage. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's dive in. Currently, Alpaca can be found on the number 6 position on DeFi Station based on total value locked. Their token is worth 74 cents now and they have about 36,000 holders. If we look at the last month, it's clear to see that they have a steady increase in the total value locked, however the price is somewhat falling. If we check their site, they describe themselves as a leverage yield farming platform and their mascot is apparently an alpaca. That probably is where they got their name from. What's interesting about this project is that they didn't have a pre-sale, no external investors and a fair launch. Their team is full with veterans in the space and they have a high focus on safety, so there's a good chance that you won't lose your funds due to a rug pull. However, again, when you start playing with leverage on DeFi liquidity pools, there's definitely a chance you'll lose your funds here, so be safe. That's a bit of information, now let's see the platform. Alpaca has a wide range of DeFi tools available for its users. You can lend tokens, which will be used for the leverage farming by other users. There's a grazing section where you can stake your Alpaca to receive other tokens, much like the Pancake Syrup pools. You can stake your tokens for some safe passive income, but the meat of Alpaca is definitely in the farming section. As we discussed earlier, with Alpaca you can leverage up your yield farms. In essence, this means that you borrow assets and in case the market goes your way, you can increase your potential earnings. If the market doesn't go your way though, you can increase your losses and in the worst case even be liquidated. When you're liquidated, your assets get sold and you end up with around 25% of your initial investment. With normal yield farming, the downside is limited to your impermanent loss. That's a difference in price change between your two assets and it can cause the ratio to tip over to one of your two tokens. Although this can mean that you end up with less than by simply holding, you will never get liquidated. So that's the downside of leverage. So why take all that risk? Well, as you can see, upping your leverage can significantly increase your APY, almost up to an absurd amount. Let's just take a look at WEX here for example. Have you ever seen these kind of returns? So yeah, if you're ready to go full risk mode on and in the process have the opportunity to make insane gains, then Alpaca is for you. Let's take a look at how you can achieve these returns. First, let's take a look at the APR. Besides the yield farming, you will also receive trading fees and Alpaca rewards. There is however a fee for borrowing assets for leverage. So why is the APY so high and what is the difference? APY also takes into account the compounding interest effect. Alpaca automatically and optimally reinvests your liquidity pool tokens and that is what makes API so insanely high. If you're able to hold your assets for a year, not get liquidated and the market stays somewhat stable, this has the highest rewards I've seen so far on Binance Smart Chain DeFi protocols. So, how do we start a farm? Let's say we want to start a WEX BNB a leverage yield farm. The first thing you have to do is check the market to see if this is a good moment to start farming. Since you're working with leverage, when the value of your assets decrease, your assets will decrease faster because of the leverage and you again might get liquidated. Let's check the WEX chart. I often use CoinGecko for this, but there are other sites available. If we take a look at the last 30 days, it's clear to see that there was a period where it was wise to be long on the market, and even with leverage. And there was a point in time where if you entered, you would have definitely get liquidated. Your farm pool will be liquidated and the lost funds will be returned. You don't want this to happen. So check the chart. If it just made a 3x, it's probably wise to not enter with leverage here. Now, however, may be an interesting spot to enter. Sure, it can decrease even more, but if an asset just dropped from 94 cents to 37 cents, it generally is a better spot to long the market. Disclaimer here, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you when to enter a market, but I'm just showing what, generally speaking, are good times to enter and exit markets. So, with that out of the way, hey guys, if you found this video useful so far, I would really appreciate it if you'd press that like button and subscribe to receive more of this content. Also, let me know what information you're looking for next. Share it in the comments below. So, you've made the well-considered decision to start with a leveraged WEX BNB farm. Then it's pretty easy to start. First, you decide how much leverage you want to use. This can be changed a bit later as well. And then you press farm. Alpaca has a couple of smart contracts that will take care of anything that needs to be done behind the scene. So instead of with other liquidity pool farms, you don't have to first get some liquidity pool tokens to farm, like with, for example, Beefy and Autofarm. You can even enter in just one of the two tokens and Alpaca makes sure to trade them in for the desired 50-50 split. For this video, we'll try this out with one BNB worth of assets. Then it's time to decide on the leverage. As noted here, when you choose leverage above 2x, you are actually going short on the borrowed asset. In this farm you can only borrow BNB, but this is something to really keep in mind. The APR can definitely outpace the borrowing, but let's say that the WEX price goes down and the BNB price goes up, you are actually losing twice as fast due to being short on BNB and long on WEX. There are a lot of tokens that move in the same direction. PancakeSwap and BNB, for example, often move in unison, but certain events can definitely mess up your pools, and again, the leverage can make this something that you will have to keep in mind. This can also make for some interesting decisions that you can make, where you can, for example, have a leveraged BNB stablecoin farm with borrowing the BNB. So you will actually short the market while yield farming. There are a lot more opportunities and we'll probably make another video on this later on. But if you're interested in reading about strategies, be sure to check out the Alpaca Academy. The link is in the description. We often think that liquidity pool farming is passive, but especially with leverage, I urge you to keep an eye on your farm so you don't get liquidated. Alright, after you've chosen your leverage and are ready to farm, click the farm button. Make sure you're connected to your wallet, and then, if this is the first time you are using Alpaca or these coins, you will have to approve a couple of transactions. Otherwise, just confirm the one transaction and watch Alpaca do its magic. And there we go, we have successfully opened a position. Now you can see your position in the Your Position section. Alpaca has a lot of tooltips in case you are wondering about the numbers, so let's check them out. First, we have our position value. It's based on our BNB and WEX. And as you can see, the value is 2.5 times what we put in. That's the leverage. That means that our debt is 1.5 times what we put in, and our equity value is what we put in. After that, we can see another nice explanation of our APY, and next to that, our debt ratio. This is our debt divided by our equity. And since we have a 2.5 times leverage farm, we always start with 60% and some for fees. Next to that is our liquidation threshold, and as stated before, when this reaches 80%, we get liquidated. This can happen pretty fast, I'm not gonna lie, so especially with the higher leverage. If in any case the market is moving against you, but you want to stay in your position because you think the market will move in your favor on a later time, you can add some collateral. In essence, this means that you increase your buffer again by adding some extra BNB or WAX tokens. And that's it. You're now yield farming with leverage. Pretty amazing. It gives the opportunity for some sick returns while also giving you some sick risk. Of course, you can always just use the 1x leverage or learn a bit about what's happening with 1.5 or 2x leverage. Just remember that everything above 2x will give you a short on the borrowed asset and immediately increases your risk a lot. We'll definitely be checking out Alpaca in the near future again. They will launch single token leverage pools starting June 17, and we're still figuring out what the best strategies are. For now, if this was useful, I'd really appreciate it if you can give this video a like and subscribe to see more of this content in the future. I aim to make 2 to 3 videos a week on crypto and DeFi in particular. If you have any suggestions for a new video, leave a comment in the description below. Have a great day. See you next time. Take care.